So good evening on a Friday. A little bit of a bonus for the members and for anybody else who's watching when we finish in a few moments' time. I just felt compelled to do a live and do an official review from Super League Raw for Beyond the Whistle that premiered yesterday on the Rugby Football League YouTube channel. And I have to say, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Look, bottom line is everybody knows who watches our show. I will always call it straight. If I don't agree with what a referee's decision is, I'll say it. Absolutely. And all the referees, they know when they don the green blazer, whatever it is they put on, and they go over the whitewash, they know that when they get a decision, one half of the stadium's going to like it, the other half of the stadium's not, and they're going to get a few jibes. Of course they are, and they're probably going to get a few obscenities thrown at them. They accept that. But what we don't like to see in any professional sport is where it goes too far. We've heard of trolling on social media, families being threatened, that type of stuff. And I think what this documentary does is it shows the human beings behind the whistle. Really good. If you haven't seen it, in the link of what you are watching right now is a direct link to the Rugby Football League YouTube channel. You can go and watch it. It's about 40 minutes long. And do you know what? I've only got one criticism. I think it could have been longer. I have to say, or it could be more parts. I think it raced through it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not criticising John Cooper, who put this together. I thought John has done an exceptional job. It's a great start, is what I would say. But we want more of this type of stuff. I think, it races through the season. And it does focus heavily on Chris Kendall and Liam Moore, because, of course, they are considered to be the two top officials currently in Super League, in the battle for Challenge Cup and Grand Finals, etc. And the tale is told. There's a little bit of a spluttering in there of the other officials. So there's a lot of padding out that they can do. They do actually go into the private lives of Jack Smith and Liam Rush, and those moments are absolutely fantastic, inspirational on both parts, really. Jack Smith, in terms of what he did, serving his country, and of course getting injured while on duty, and that of course brought him to rugby league. And Liam Rush, of course, who I didn't know this, his mum sadly passed away, and one of his dreams was that his mum would see him officiate his first Super League game, and that she did. She even presents him with a shirt during the documentary, There's Not a Dry Eye in the House. And you can actually see the emotion as well. The likes of Phil Bentham, Chris Kendall are on shot, and they're getting quite emotional as well, because it's a brotherhood of referees. That's what I would describe it as. It's we look at our rugby league teams, and of course they're a tight knit unit, but so are the referees, and that really comes across in this documentary. Very, very inspiring indeed. Like I say, we can't have a game without officials. If you watch Weekly yesterday, we criticised the knock-on call against Dom Young. We call it straight. We call it straight Super League Raw. We do. That's what we do. And, if I don't agree with an official, I'll say it, but I will never, ever go beyond what I believe is right and appropriate. They're there to be shot at. Of course, they accept that as long as it's done with respect. And I think that is what hopefully now will happen. I think the fact that we're seeing the men behind the whistle, and of course, let's not forget the women referees that are coming through as well, Tara Jones. I think there's loads of scope here in terms of what we can do. But I think by getting to know the officials on a more personal level, it might just stop. Not everybody. You're always going to get the village idiots. We know that. But it might just make people think a little bit more. I mean, for example, some of these officials' families could be in the ground, their kids, their wives, their husbands, whatever it may be. I mean, come on, really? I mean, when you're in your place of work, if you were showing your family around, would you want? I'm sure your colleagues and people in the building, even customers, they won't be swearing it. You don't want to be doing all that kind of thing. And I think what it does is it just makes you think a little bit. But it's a really inspiring piece. I know because, of course, I've interviewed the likes of Aaron Moore, Ian Smith, and I know that I'll be interviewing more as the seasons go on. Chris Kendall will probably be the next one that I interview in terms of In Conversation. That is in the melting pot and should land before Christmas. I've had a few messages exchanged with Chris, and that should be an interesting one as well. But having spoken to these guys, the amount of minutes, the amount of effort they put in to be match fit, I mean, they have to be incredibly fit. When you consider the running and the sprinting that they have to do, unlike a prop forward who can, walk back behind the line and get a couple of breaths. The referee hasn't got that luxury. The referee's got to keep up with play. When we spoke to Ian Smith, he said how many decisions a referee has got to make in a single game, and yet he might get one wrong. And I think, it comes across really well, the dedication that they show in terms of getting match fit, the the debrief that they do. And again, I know, having spoken to the likes of Aaron Moore, how detailed that is. That doesn't quite come across, and I get that. But believe me, if they could extend that and actually, do maybe a 30-minute episode, which goes into real detail in terms of what those debriefs look and feel like, and the level of detail they go in, maybe, just maybe, that will also help the fans to understand just how much effort goes into it. That it's a genuine error in judgment that they've made, and hey, who hasn't made an error in their life? But actually, the amount of detail they go into to try and eradicate that going forward. We always say about consistency. Again, to maybe have a bit more focus in those group discussions, the actual detail of those group discussions, and how they try and get consistency. Again, there's moments of that in the documentary, but maybe a little bit padded out. But I have to say this. Like I say, John has done an exceptional job. We need more of this. We all absolutely love the game of rugby league. Yes, the dog, as always. This is an impromptu one. Do forgive me. But yeah, we all love the game of rugby league. We all cherish our game of rugby league. We need these officials, and like I say, they do an incredible job. And like I say, just a little bit of panning out would be great, but I think John's done a phenomenal job. I actually sent him a message on behalf of the community and the wider rugby league community on a great effort in terms of bringing our officials to the forefront of the game. I hope we do more of this. We've seen the clubs do it. I think, these unsung heroes of the game, we know what the referees are a unsung hero. We don't have a game without him. But what about the marketeers within the clubs, even ticket office staff, groundsmen, those type of things, let's put them front and centre. These are the unsung heroes that give us a game. And believe you me, when you actually hear some of the stories like Jack Smith's, like Liam Rush's, and of course all of these volunteers, of course we've done work with Squad Builder this year, the volunteers that again the game absolutely relies on, and all those aforementioned people that work within clubs, I think by us hearing their stories and the dedication of those in our game as well would inspire us all, and it actually get us closer to our great game of rugby league. Like I say, a really, really good, fantastic documentary, a great starting point. I hope they do more with the officials. I really do. As you know, we broke a bit of ground last year. When we got Aaron Moore in, that was one of the best in conversations that we've done thus far here at Super League Raw, and everybody loved that conversation with Aaron Moore, and also with Ian Smith as well, when we got Ian in as a retired referee who could speak openly and candidly about his career, his regrets, his successes, his pride. It's wonderful stuff. So I think the more of this type of thing that we get, I, for one, will be watching it. I think it was a great documentary. Again, massive congratulations to everybody involved. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Normally you're watching a game of rugby league right now on a Friday night. Why not just press that little button that's in the description once I've done, and just go and watch it. And believe me, it really will enlighten you. Great to have so many people watching this one live on a very short notice turnaround. I'm sure many people will watch it when I'm done as well. Bazza Kingston saying, the Liam Mush moment, absolutely different class. Craig Forth, he loved it as well. Lee Oxley, he's got his England Poppy shirt. Well done, Lee. Good effort from you. But yeah, everybody in the chat, I hope you're having a really good Friday evening with your families. I hope you're having a couple of beers. I hope you're enjoying life. But yeah, beyond the whistle, you know what? I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, a solid 8 out of 10. And I am 8 out of 10. And people, and I hope I'm not upsetting the producers and the director. I mean, like I say, John, great effort. And I say it again, brilliant effort as a first start. But like I say, as somebody who really loves this type of detail, who likes to get into that level of detail, I just think maybe a more extended. And I know there's a cost involved in this. I get that. But I saw it. I don't know about you. I probably saw a 6, maybe a 6 episode at 30 minutes series. I really do. And the fact that they touch on the fact that at the end that Liam Moore got the grand final in the Challenge Cup this year suggests that it was just for 2024. The fly on the wall didn't continue for 2025, which is such a shame. So yeah, like I say, go and have a look, see it for yourself. A solid 8 out of 10. I think this is a great step forward. For too long, in most professional sports, the referees are the people that we don't see on camera. A lot of people say that they should be interviewed at the end of the game. We don't see what they've got to say about the sport, their love for the game, the dedication that they give the game. So anything like this, I think, is a real positive step forward and can only enhance our game, and hopefully the respect levels between supporter and referee. We know that the players and the referee, there's ultimate respect in the game of rugby league. We know that. On the field of play, it is still, I would say, to the most part, it is still very good. And if it's not, then they go and sit down for 10. And we don't want to lose that in our sport. Unfortunately, the referee can't go and sit supporters down for 10. But like I say, I just think by us understanding these people a little bit more, maybe some supporters who don't really behave like that every single day. We know that there's the odd village idiot. We're not going to change those, but I think this could change a couple of heart and minds for the better, so that our referees get a little bit more respect. That's not to say they shouldn't be criticised. Constructive criticism is good. Like I say, Dom Young at the weekend, appalling. Absolutely appalling. How on earth was that a knock on? And don't get me wrong, Jack Smith and our Australian friend might want to come on and debate that until the cows come home, and we'd welcome them to do it. Not a problem at all. But as a layman, as a supporter, having watched rugby league all my life, I agree with James Graham. Never in the history of man was that a knock on. That's my opinion. The referees have got to do it in the heat of battle. I get that. There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. But what I won't do is sit here and call Jack Smith obscene names, go and troll him on social media, etc. I'll just give constructive criticism and move on. Same as Steph was doing on Weekly when he's talking about the obstruction that was never given for the Cam Munster try. Again, great debate, lovely stuff, done with respect, not a problem whatsoever. Steph wouldn't go online and start looking up Jack and give him a piece of his mind privately. Of course he wouldn't. But on a profile, on a program like Super League Raw Weekly, absolutely, fill your boots, no dramas. Everybody's happy with that, and I think even Phil Bentham is the head of referees and all the team in that community of referees that they've got would agree with that. They enjoy it. It's a bit of banter, it's a bit of a laugh, and it's a bit of constructive criticism, as long as it doesn't go over the line. So there you go. That is my review of Beyond the Whistle. A fantastic step forward to the game. We want more of these documentaries. We really, really do. And I think there's a series in here, folks. I really, really do. Perhaps I've already said it. I'll be in touch with Phil Bentham. I'll be in touch with the people that mattered with regards to this particular documentary. And I'll be giving them that free advice. Give us a 30-minute, 6-episode series. Get into the detail. Go a little bit deeper. It can only be great for the great game of rugby league. Tomorrow is Ashes 3. Enjoy that, 2:30 p.m. Don't forget as well, on Sunday, it's the end of what's going on down under in the Pacific. New Zealand taking on Samoa. That'll be an outstanding game. If you're not going to get up at 4 o'clock, then do indeed get that recorded on your Sky Plus box and make sure you watch that on Sunday when you wake up. And of course, the Super League Raw community will be back for the final whistle, as always, the last one of 2025. I know it's an emotional thing, but it's true. It's going to be the last one of the season. They will not be back until next year. So make sure you check out the Final Whistle podcast on your way to work this Monday. And of course, those boys and girls, of course, will be talking about the great game of rugby league, the Ashes Series 3, and maybe they'll touch on the 2025 campaign as a whole and the season as it all draws to a close in readiness for next year World Club Championships, Vegas again. Oh, an expanded Super League. Hopefully a better Huddersfield, a better Warrington, a better Catalan Dragons. So much to look forward to in the great game of rugby league. It's why we love it so much. It's why it's the greatest game on earth, folks. And make sure you keep it real with Super League Raw. Tell all your friends about us, share us, subscribe to us, ring that bell. You know it makes sense. Come and join this wonderful community. From me to you on this Friday night, I hope you've enjoyed this little review. A little bit of a bonus for you. We will see you very soon. Bye for now.